I just had a guard up because I didn't really feel like I was good enough to be a wife. You know what I'm saying? It was just more so of me, really, not even him, just me being in the position and having the mindset like, I want to be a wife. I know, I can do this regardless of, my situations or whatever. But I just seen my mom struggle in a sense, not really struggle, but I mean, I was old enough to know, like, I don't want to be like, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to be like this. I don't want my life to be like, we'll always like, kind of think back. I actually this morning was going through some of our pictures, and I sent him a picture, one of our like pictures that we had first took when we dated the first time, and he was like, "Who would have thought?"
All right. Well, good afternoon. Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the Enlightened First Lady Show. I'm your host, Lady Cara Payne, and we have Lady Jasmine James in the building. So excited to chat with you today.
Yes.
Thank you so much for taking time. I am just definitely Mrs. Do Too Much because I came from a lunch. Well, first, you'll appreciate this. Bishop Zanders is doing his listening tour of all the churches. Has he came to what? Y'all are in the East Coast?
We are in. Why are we going? Why you got me on this live? And I'm new to AME. We are Central.
I think you told me Central. So has he came to y'all?
Not doing that yet, I don't think, because I know my husband will be there, but he hasn't came to us yet.
Yes, so he might have just started with the Florida conference, which would make sense.
Okay.
So we were the last. So Florida conference is the biggest conference in all of Florida, in all of the 11th Episcopal District, and we have 4 smaller local districts, and so Tallahassee, I think, was the last. So he was at our church at 8:30 this morning.
Oh my gosh!
And yeah, and it's Black Girl Rest Day, March 10th. I don't know if you
why you didn't remind me? I was supposed to take off today for this.
Oh, I didn't know that was the plan. My bad, sis. My bad.
When you text me and said, I'm gonna be off today for Black Girl Rest Day, I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna take off too. But then it slipped my mind. Stuff.
Well, just try to temper it down a little bit. Don't overdo it.
Don't overdo it.
But yeah, so we had that, and then I had my makeup done by Des. Shout out to Destiny. Thank you, sis.
By the way.
And then we had a birthday lunch in Midtown, and then I rushed back here to chop it up with you for a little bit. So talk to me. How's your day going? I'm sorry. I am so sorry to remind you, but how's the day going for you?
Listen, today is a Monday. Woke up this morning. It was pouring down raining. So trying to get 2 kids out of the house in the dark, one, because of the time change. And my son is asking, why are we up? Because it's nighttime and we're supposed to still be asleep. So it was a struggle. Thankfully, my husband took my daughter to school and I took my son to school. So I'm here at work in the car, as you can see, meeting with some of my students. But it's definitely a Monday, not a bad Monday, not a slow Monday. It's just a Monday. Nothing has went wrong because Mondays seem like everything goes wrong. But it's good. Today is a good day. Good. Our anniversary, by the way, 2-year anniversary today.
I told myself as I was driving home, I was like, kick off with saying happy anniversary. Of
course, girl, 2-year anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Yes, girl.
So I know y'all got plans this weekend. Are y'all doing anything special tonight?
So this morning, I actually woke up to roses and balloons. And in the card, it did say after work, get cute because we going out. Where we going? I do not know. But I am excited. I am excited. I can't believe it's 2 years already. Last year we didn't really get to do anything, of course, because I had just had Mackenzie on March 5th. And so we were home on our anniversary, taking care of a newborn. But it's just like the time is flying.
Oh
But
my
it's
goodness.
yes. So
That is so sweet. I love a
yes,
good surprise. So you're definitely
yes.
going to have
Oh
to send
yes.
me a pic if you
Oh, I
can. Be
will.
like, oh girl,
I
look,
will. I
I'm at
will.
so Steakhouse. Or wherever
Yes.
you're headed. That's exciting. That's exciting. Well, then considering that,
Yes.
I think it's perfect to set up a little bit of what we do traditionally in the show, which is
Okay.
one, learn a little bit more about you. Um,
Okay.
and your spouse as a first lady.
Okay.
So, I mean,
Okay.
talk to me a little bit about, give a shout out to your hubby and where you are currently serving leaders. And then, like, I want
Okay.
to know how y'all met. Tell me that story.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So shout out to Mount Tabor AME Church, located in Ocala, Florida. My husband
Ocala.
is the Reverend
Yeah.
Mikhail Jaree James. Um, and I am very new to AME. I grew up Baptist. But I love the connection of the churches. It's just like a big family. But my husband and I met I want to say he'll say that this is wrong, but this is just my rendition of how we met. We were in high school in the 11th grade, and some friends of mine that we went to the same high school. They were doing a youth Bible study, and my husband was actually the youth speaker that night. So that's how we initially met. We exchanged numbers and stuff, and we would talk over time, and because we went to two totally different high schools. We lived on two totally different sides of town in Ocala. So we never really even bumped into each other in town or anything like that. But we would, hold conversations or whatever. So time went on. We're probably about our senior year going into college. And he, like, I could tell that he was interested and liked me or whatever. But I will always tell my sisters and my friends, I don't want to be married to a pastor. Like, he trying to be a pastor. I don't want to be married to a pastor. So we lost contact, of course, over time. And I moved away, went to college. I went actually to Georgia, lived in Georgia for a little bit and went to school up there. And he was in Orlando, still keep in contact every now and again. But I ended up moving back to Ocala, and we ended up dating officially in about maybe 15-ish up into like the beginning of 17. Kind of went our little own separate ways or whatever. I ended up getting into another relationship, where I had my son, who is 6. His name is Dre. And then, life happens. That relationship didn't work out. So it was just me and my son for about 3 years. Me and Mikhail reconnected. And that time was a very, very vulnerable, sensitive time for me. Like I said, I was a single mom. Seemed like everything in my life that I wanted and I knew that I was trying to prepare for, I didn't have really. So I was really praying to God because, one, I had a lot of mom guilt, because I didn't want to feel like I let my son down, if that makes sense, because I knew I didn't want him to grow up like I did without, the other parent. It was just my mom with my sisters and brothers and I. But nevertheless, me and Mikhail reconnected, and we would have like very lengthy and intentional conversations about how this time will be different, only because now it wasn't just me anymore. I had a son. And him and my son fell in love with each other when they first met. And it's funny because when they first met, Michaela see my son and he'll be like, "What's up, G? How you doing?" Whatever. So we'll go to the park and meet. So my son had started calling Mikhail G. So now he that's his G for whatever reason, it's so funny. Everybody like, why does he call him G? So he calls him G. But we ended up getting engaged May of 22, May of 2022, and we got married March 10th, 2023.
Oh,
And
wow.
I found out that I was pregnant with my daughter that same year in July, and she came March 5th, 2024.
Sure.
So March is a busy month for us. But I love being a wife. I love my little family. Still getting, used to being a first lady because it's still like so surreal, this life that we have. Never imagined myself being a pastor's wife, being a preacher's wife. But I love it. I love it. I love it a lot. Especially now, just having my son in church and him seeing the example of my husband, and he'll tell him sometimes, I want to be a preacher man, just like you. So just seeing that and him seeing the example of how he treats me and all of the things. So yes.
I love that. And so I have some follow-ups. How did Mikkel propose? Were you expecting it?
So listen,
Uh-oh.
I tell you, for probably about 6 months straight, I kid you not, every Sunday we would go to the jewelry store. We would look at rings, and after a time, I was telling my sisters, if we go to a jewelry store one more time, I am going to scream. So I knew it was going to happen. I did know that it was going to happen because we had talked about it, had them planned out everything. He would always ask me, what would be your ideal proposal or whatever. So I knew that I wanted all of my family there, my sisters, my brothers, my mom, of course, close family, close friends. I knew I wanted all of that. So he got together with my family. Matter of fact, in that May of 22, my oldest niece was graduating high school. So of course, all of my family would be in Ocala that weekend. So they got everything together, and we were supposed to be taking family pictures with my mom. So that's what I was preparing for, was family
Right.
pictures. And so I'm getting ready. Well, that was during the summer, and I was working during the summertime, I work at a pool as the coordinator. And so they was like, why are you working today? Why are you working today? I was like, I have to go to work. Today is the first day of, the summer opening day. I have to go to work. So the pictures was at 11. So I ended up telling my job or whatever that I was going to have to leave early. So I get home, my family and my sisters, they wasn't acting any different or anything. So I'm getting ready, asking them about my outfit. Everybody was saying that it looked fine or whatever. So I ended up being late. I was probably about maybe 20 minutes late to the pictures. So my mom's calling me. She was like, oh, the photographer is ready for you. Where are you at? And I'm just like, I'm on my way. Couldn't find a parking spot because it was downtown. So I'm rushing to get to a parking space. Soon as I'm walking up to everything, it's like, everybody is there. So I just immediately start bawling, crying. I'll have to tag you in the proposal video, girl.
Oh,
It
yes.
was amazing. It was just beyond my expectation, but it was amazing. It was amazing. So didn't
I
have
love
no earthly idea.
I
So he
love
did a good
that.
job.
Yes, that he was intentional, that he,
Yes,
sought
yes,
your input, because I feel like
yes.
sometimes that can be a thing where it's like, I feel like for the most part, I mean, I haven't seen any in real life proposals that like the woman is just, floored, by how in a bad
Right,
way by how things
right.
go down. All right, so we are back. In case you missed it, I am chatting with the lady Jasmine M. James,
Yes.
and she just I had to get with her because she tagged me in her engagement video, and it is absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
And so I was telling her, I started feeling the tears well up when the video first opens and people are handing her roses, but then I was good. And
then
then once she
it
actually
just
like got to
it just started
her
flowing.
then fiance, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna make it. So I had to stop because I got this makeup done, and I still got some plans
Yeah.
for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I will come back to it tonight once this is all washed off and I am ready for a good cry, because how beautiful, how
Thank you.
that's what I was saying when we got disconnected, just how beautiful, how thoughtful, how intentional you could
Yes.
tell that
Yes.
he wanted to be. And that,
Yes.
ladies, is how one of the ways you've got a good one, when
Absolutely.
they take that extra time
Mhm.
to one, be intentional. But I think,
Yes.
there's something to be said for like going above and beyond.
Yes.
And
Yes.
maybe we could kind of talk a little bit about that, because you mentioned that you were in a previous relationship,
Mhm.
which you
Mhm.
got your beautiful baby boy out
Yes.
of. But
Yes.
what were some of the things that, in that time, I think you said it was about 3 years where it was just you and your son, like,
Mhm.
what were some of the things you were thinking about? What were some of the things you were seeking God for? And how did you know that you were ready and that, this time was going to be different? If you can tell
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
me a
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
bit about
So
that.
for me, like I said, I grew up. My mom. I have. My mom has 6 children. I have 2 brothers. It's well, 2 boys and 4 girls. Right. So, Kara, you really gonna have me being emotional. So
Oops.
I am the second oldest. And so I seen a lot of things, that my younger siblings didn't see or remember, things that my younger siblings don't really remember because they were too young to remember. But I just seen my mom struggle in a sense. Not really struggle, but I mean, I was old enough to know, like, I don't want to be like, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to be like this. I don't want my life to be like this or whatever. So when me and my son's father officially split, I just it really broke me. It broke me because, again, I did not want my son to experience some of the things that I experienced as a young girl, as a child. Um and when I really made up in my mind, you know, that I wanted to be different, I wanted something different for him. Um, and for whatever reason, even after my son's father and I split, me and Michaela and I, we would have, very short conversations, very like, hey, I'm just checking in on you. Matter of fact, when COVID first happened, and that March, when it was like official, kids wasn't going back to school, he knew that I worked in the school system, and at the time he was working at the college. And he just texted me just randomly out of the blue and was just like, hey, just checking on you, hope all is well. And I'm just like, you know what, listen. I'm going through a lot right now, but maybe we could just sit down and chat or whatever. So even in that, him being intentional, checking in on me, we hadn't spoke in over maybe 2 years. Really, at that point, my son had just had his second birthday, so he was about to turn 3. Um, and even like at that moment, God was just dealing with me. Um, I just had a guard up because I didn't really feel like I was good enough to be a
Mm.
wife. You know what I'm saying? I had a baby out of wedlock, my son's father. I mean, we had a really bad breakup. And even him saying different things to me, like, I never be good enough, I'm not wife material, just the whole nine. But I had to know within myself that I was better than that. And, so I just began to pray and ask God to put me in a place where I am ready, to commit, where I send me somebody who would not only love me but love my son. Um, and like I said, during that COVID time, Mikkel and I we would talk often and, go out to dinner and just have very meaningful conversations. And at that time, he was pastoring his first church. And I was like, I'm going to just go visit him one day, So that was up in Gainesville, and that's about 30 minutes from Ocala. And just seeing him in that ailment, and I tell him all the time, like, that is like my favorite ailment to see him in, other than, being a father to our kids. Because I knew, even like when we dated before, I knew how bad he wanted it. I seen him work for where he is now. So it was just more so of me, really, not even him, just me being in the position and having the mindset, like, I want to be a wife. I know, I can do this regardless of, my situations or whatever. So yeah. And again, I tell him all the time, he was really my saving grace, because at the time, like I said, my son, dad and I, we didn't, after we broke up, like, we just was like, it was just a mess. And for him to come in and just father my son and his family, just love on him like no other, it has just been a blessing. Because nobody cannot tell me, love is in my opinion, I feel like it's hard to love and care for somebody else's child, but he just do it so seamless. Like, my son knows his dad, and knows that Mikkel isn't his dad, but he loves him so, 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 so much. And I don't think that God could have sent us, and I'm saying for me and my son, a better person. A better
Mm,
person. So yeah.
that is so beautiful. And I
Yeah.
love that, you already mentioned that they just, shared this special bond. I am
Yes.
curious, at what point in you and Mikkel's relationship did you say, okay, I'm ready for Dre, right?
Yes. Yes.
To meet,
Yes.
to
Yes.
meet him.
Um, we probably, it was probably about, I'm gonna say about 3 or 4 months into us reconnecting.
Right.
Um, we met so crazy. My favorite store was Target. So
Mm.
we're girl, I'm struggling. You hear me?
I just left lunch and the ladies was talking about. I never frequented, like, it was my nice little luxury mommy moment spot, but it wasn't
Oh,
like, I'm not a Target girlie, so it hasn't been hard for me. But anyway,
oh, girl.
it's
I'm
all
sure
right. It's all right. We gonna make it. We gonna make
we gonna make it. But he would come, or he would text me or whatever and ask me where I was. And it just seemed like every time he would call me or text me and ask me where I was in Target.
it.
So literally the first time that they actually met was at Target.
Oh wow.
But my son was 3, so he didn't like really know, like,
Yeah.
what was going on or
Right.
whatever. But the first time they met, like I said, they just meshed like right together. So yeah, it was I want to say about 3 to 4 months after we had officially reconnected. Yeah.
And how special, is it that he came in at still a very critical time in a child's
Very,
development, right? I
very,
don't have to tell
very.
you that. And
Yes,
so
yes, yes,
that, from a very early onset,
yes,
he will be able to look at his G,
yes.
as an example of a
Yes,
godly man who loves
absolutely.
his wife, loves the
Absolutely.
Lord.
Absolutely.
And that is truly special,
Absolutely.
because
Absolutely.
as I hear, I was just again talking to some girlfriends about, dating and,
Hmm.
like, just how slim the pickings
I
are
know.
these
It's
days.
crazy. It's
And
bad.
yeah, I feel, I can't, I've been with my husband since my senior year in college.
Okay.
So I'm like, dating as like a young adult, I don't have a lot to compare it to,
Right. Right.
we definitely had our share of struggles and
Mm-hmm.
challenges to
Mm-hmm.
get where we are. And as my dad says, I wouldn't trade anything for the journey,
Right.
because
Right. Right.
those lessons and opportunities or mistakes or whatever you want to call
Mm-hmm.
them definitely help to mold us, where we
Absolutely.
are and who I am, who I show up as a
Absolutely.
wife and a mom. So, but yeah, the Lord has been good and kind, and
Yes. And
we
it's
thank Him.
crazy. It's crazy because we'll always like, kind of think back. I actually this morning was going through some of our pictures, and I sent him a picture, one of our like pictures that we had first took when we dated the first time, and he was like, "Who would have thought?" And I'm like, "I know, who would have thought?" Like we were so young.
Yeah,
I say like young and dumb because I mean I knew the potential he had, um, and I knew what we brought to the table and what I, valued in him and what he valued in me or whatever. But he'll always say we weren't ready. And I'm just like, now that I really think about it, I don't think we really were. And if we would have gotten married back then, I don't think we would have made it.
that's
I
true.
I don't think we would have made it. I really, really don't. So I truly, truly, truly thank God for real for that time and development and maturity. And like I tell him all of the time, like I don't think I would have I know I wouldn't have made it. I know I wouldn't have made it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have made it.
And that's why, they say timing is everything, and it's
Mm-hmm.
cliche, but there's so much truth to that.
Oh
I
yes.
mean,
Oh
even the
yes.
Bible speaks to that, the seasons of
Absolutely.
life
Absolutely.
and a
Absolutely.
time for everything. And
Oh
so
yeah.
I am
Oh
just so
yes.
so
Yes.
grateful um for you two and your example, and like to your point, when we first connected on, I guess, through social media, it was like, I
Yes.
don't know a lot of younger millennial pastors'
Yes.
wives, and so
Yes. I was just saying I didn't know a lot of young preachers' wives, and so it definitely was a God thing for real. For real.
yeah, yeah. And I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I'm gonna kind of bring us to a close. But I know you and
Oh,
I could
absolutely.
probably keep keying and talking for hours. But I just, again,
Hmm.
I'm grateful that we're connected, and this is kind of, I wanted to shout out or put a little plug in
Yes.
for the Enlightened
Yes.
First Lady brunch that is coming up
Yes.
in
Yes.
just a few weeks now. We will have the opportunity to
Yes.
really touch and
Yes.
agree for the first time, because we've been exchanging messages on social
Yes.
media and email and phone, but I can't wait
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
share with you in that space and for you to meet other clergy spouses. Now, I will admit, I know we're out there in terms of, the 40 and under crew, but
Yes.
for me, it's been few and far between. And so, and I look forward to seeing, more, I mean, because we have to have the young adults, if you will. I guess we're
Yes.
still in that young
Yes.
adult bracket. Because if
Yes.
not,
Yes.
I mean, the church, the kingdom, the word is going to go forward. But of course, as being relatively new to, I guess, the AME denomination,
Right.
we have to
Right.
keep growing. And what I've
Absolutely.
noticed is that more women are answering the call. So I don't know who's going to do the first
Yes.
gentleman society, but
I know. I
that
know.
will need to be dropped into someone else's spirit. But I am thinking
Yes. Yes.
eventually,
Yes.
it would be cool, even on the show, to like bring the spouses together. Like, I would love to hear,
Hmm.
Martel's version of how y'all met and y'all
Oh
progression and
yes.
all that kind of
Oh
stuff. So
yes.
maybe that'll be season 3.
Yes.
Because right now I'm hearing from the
Okay.
ladies, so often,
Yes.
sometimes, it's okay. It's okay to be I don't want to even say take a back seat to our husbands, because really we should be walking
Hmm.
alongside of them.
Alongside of them.
But
Right.
also, I just think it's nice to connect as the wives. Recognizing we have our own gifts and graces that God has given us.
Right.
We have our own calling on our lives. And we just want to be, I really just want the Enlightened First Lady to be a space to, encourage and speak to that,
Yes,
and so
yes,
I'm
yes.
really, really excited. Are you
Yes,
you
I
you ready?
am. I really am. I'm ready, girl. I was just telling him, I'm just like, I think I'm really nervous because I tell him all of the time, I'm just, I'm a
Yeah.
background person. Like, I don't have to have, a lot of
Mhm.
light on me or whatever. I'm very much so a background person. My family would say otherwise because I'm always hosting an event or, my job, I cannot be shy. I have to, be very vocal. But some stuff I just like to
Right.
be in the
Yeah.
background. I don't have to say a lot, but I'm coming out of my comfort zone.
Yes,
I'm coming out
yes,
of my
and
comfort zone.
I think that that's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing because, again, you never know how God is going to use you. We think, oh, I don't
Hmm.
have this credential, I don't have this experience. No, like
Yes.
for such a time
Yes.
as this is coming together, and again,
Yes.
it's all right.
Yes.
Let the
Yeah.
light shine on you just a little bit.
Yes.
Everything
Just a little bit.
in
Just a little bit.
moderation and in its proper place. And
Yes.
so I look forward to
Yes.
hearing from you because we know you have,
Absolutely.
again, some additional gifts and graces. Let's talk a little
Yes.
bit about that, about your
Okay.
binders, and then just like if how
Okay.
people can find you or get connected with you.
Okay.
If you want to drop an email
Okay.
or your IG,
Okay.
whatever.
Um, so my childhood dream had always been to be a teacher. It's just comes to me naturally. True, I just have a passion for children. So I went to school to be a teacher, of course, different detours, things happen or whatever. So over time, I was in the classroom as a teacher assistant for about 5.5 years, literally right when the pandemic hit. We went, of course, stayed out of school for that time or whatever. So even in that, I started going back to school, but then I was just like, do I really want to be in the classroom? And then I really had my son in mind about just the whole COVID thing or whatever. So I was just like, I think I'm gonna just kind of put it on the back burner and try to do something else, try to do something different. So I started working in the mental health and wellness department for the school board and for the county that I live in. And just in the schools, like I could just see a need of it was just bad, right? So with my son, even with everything that I do, he had always been my little guinea pig. So this particular summer, I was like, I'm gonna just buy the subscription for this. I still had a subscription for the teacher websites that I was using when I was in the classroom. So I said, I'm just going to get some stuff for him because he was actually going to be going to VPK that next year. And I'm just going to put this binder together so we can work on it during the summer or whatever. So I was like really looking through it one night and I was just like, I did a good job on this. So I was showing it to some of my friends and it was just like, girl, you could really sell this. And I'm like, I don't know about selling this. So literally, I just put it out there one day. And when I tell you people were emailing me, was messaging me, they wanted one, I mean, two and three at a time, right? So my first time doing it was about 2 summers ago, and I got about 100 orders that one summer. I kid you not, right? I mean, me and Mikhail was up wee hours of the
Unbelievable.
morning because it had got to be so much I couldn't do it by myself. So, I mean, he went out, and when I tell you, he bought me a new printer. He bought all of the supplies that I needed because, I mean, it was going just that fast, right? So it it was mind it was mind blowing. So is I wanted to make it into something. Like last summer, I was saying, okay, maybe I can try to put something together. But it's just like, it was just so much. I didn't know like how to incorporate it into something that I had already done. So I wanted to start like a little store or a little thing called the art or the love of motherhood, only because motherhood, of course, is a wide variety of different things. But for the love of motherhood, I mean, you're talking about education, you're talking about mental health and wellness, just all of the things. But if the education part, if I can help a mom to do that, you know what I'm saying? It'd just be just a little part of why I'm here on earth. So I love it. Like I said, I love education. It is literally, I can do it with my eyes closed. But it's typically, I only do it through the summer. Some people do inbox me and ask me, and I do it, here and there. But because I don't work during the summer, I have more time. So, but people have reached out to me about doing it. And if I have the time, I will. And sometimes I have to turn people away only because I don't want to just put something together. If my name is on it, I really want to sit down with the parent. We'll email or text back and forth, and I'll ask them, what are they struggling with? How can, I help? It could just be they're struggling in reading. So I'll only put reading material in there or whatever. So yeah, like I said, it was literally just a thought, and it came to be this big thing.
I love the custom, that they're customizable, and that's what I think is critical and sets your product apart from others. Because you want to, or you're operating in that spirit of excellence. One, and then two, you're taking it to the next level by making it specific to that young person, because we know that everyone learns differently. People are at different paces and things like that. And so I think that extra special touch is what is going to continue making this portion of your ministry successful and profitable for however long you see fit and the Lord sees fit to continue until, because that is, and I love, and that's good too about, recognizing your capacity. Like, yes, this is a great idea, but you're also a wife and a mother, and you also have to take time for you. So, putting too much on your plate for the sake of $1 is not, that's not the business. That's not that's not a good business model.
No, not at all.
So. Well, Jasmine, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you working through me, being flexible, because yes, we are both busy pastors' wives and mothers and career women. I mean, just, you name it. We juggle so much, but with God's grace, He will keep us day in and day out. So. Well, okay. So just how can people get a hold of you if they want to try to reach out to you for a binder? Because summer's going to be here before you know it. I don't know. I mean,
girl, and people are already asking. So on Facebook, just Jasmine James is my name. You can find me there. Instagram, Miss Jasmine James. And then, or you can email me or whatever. I haven't changed my email over yet. So it's my maiden name, which is brown.jasmine1987@gmail.com.
Okay.
So,
all right. Well, we'll list all of that in the description so that people can get a hold of you. But again, I just appreciate your time. I can't wait to see you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you so much. Thank you for taking me out of my comfort zone.
I appreciate you taking me on. Hold on, my computer. Let me. I don't want to cut us off again. But again. I just appreciate you, and I appreciate you all for watching, for listening. If you have any questions for Jasmine or myself, please put them in the comments or shoot me a message. You can find me at Payne on all social media networks. And feel free to like, subscribe, share this show with someone else who'll be blessed by it. And we'll see you next time. Thanks.
All right. Bye. Bye.